Hey guys, and welcome back to Z3 Cubing. Today I'm going to open up and try out QiYi's new budget magnetic MS puzzles. So the Cubicle.com just sent me over this package that appears to be a little bit too big to fit inside the frame. Inside should be a brand new lineup of budget magnetic cubes from QiYi called QiYi MS. Basically, there's a 2x2, 3x3, 4x4, 5x5, and I believe also a Pyraminx. But I'm very excited to try these out because the prices seem to be very good, even for budget cubes, and especially good for budget cubes with magnets. So it looks like we have a whole bunch of puzzles in here. Let's get these all poured out of the box here. We got some air to pop. That was fun. So let's just get these all lined up here. It looks like we also have their standard business card. It says Cubicle Pro Shop and the Cubicle.com, puzzles for everyone. So we got a 2x2, a 3x3, a 4x4, a 5x5, and a Pyraminx. So it looks like these come in some pretty unique packaging. I do definitely like the clear plastic that you can see the puzzle all the way around, along with the marketing and everything. Normally, especially with a budget cube, you just get a little cardboard box. But yeah, I do definitely like this. You got some nice hard plastic. Not a whole lot of English on the box. We have Matt's bulk with his 4.74. That was beaten a long time ago. And we have the word magnetic. Okay, so how do we open this package up? I guess we have plastic that we have to unwrap. So it looks like once we've got the plastic off, we can open up the plastic. That way we can take even more plastic off so that we can get to the plastic cube inside. And it looks like the only other thing that's in the packaging is this little instruction booklet. No fancy accessories or anything like that, but you know, that's fine by me. I don't need a bunch of extra magnets and, you know, a fancy screwdriver when all I'm gonna be using is the cube itself. So let's go ahead and unbox each of these other cubes real quick, just so that I don't have to deal with the packaging again later. And the last one, oh, it looks like they decided to forego one of those extra layers of plastic on the Pyraminx. Anyway, no surprises in any of those, same thing in every package pretty much. So let's start off by taking a look at the 2x2. Now the funny thing is, almost all of my mains are already QiYi puzzles, just from their higher end Valk lineup. So it should be a really easy comparison between, in this case, QiYi's high-end $20 2x2 and their brand new $7 budget 2x2. Now the first thing that I noticed on both of these cubes is that they both have these really annoying non-removable printed on logos that are always a pain to try and remove without damaging the plastic. Anyway, it looks like their color schemes are also identical, so it looks like they have standardized on the Valk color scheme. It looks like it could be a tiny bit smaller than the 51mm Valk, and the only other difference I can tell before actually turning them is that this one is a little bit lighter, which could actually be a good thing because that means there's less weight to push against, which can make the cube feel quite a bit faster. Anyway, let's go ahead and do some first turns. Alright. I like it. The first thing that really stands out to me is the lightness of the turning. I said that the cube itself was really light, but that lightness also definitely reflects in the turning. It almost feels a little bit hollow, like there's not a whole lot of plastic to it, which makes sense for a budget cube, but it definitely doesn't feel low quality. The plastic feels really nice and solid. The feeling of the turning itself is not super smooth in the way that my Valk is incredibly smooth with all the lube and everything. It's definitely not like sandy or anything. I guess it's more like just not broken in. It has a little bit of like a crispiness to it that is actually pretty satisfying to turn. But yeah, overall I'd describe the turning as very light, kind of airy in a way, very, very fluid and plenty fast, definitely fast enough for me, probably fast enough for the best 2x2 solvers in the world. Compared to my Valk's actually a lot slower because of the lube setup I have in it. And actually compared to the budget cube, it actually feels like it takes a lot more work to do the same moves on my main, partially because of the way I have it set up, slower because I don't turn very fast, but also partially because of the weight of the pieces. So that's really interesting. I might want to switch to this cube over the more expensive one just for its weight savings alone. Anyway, the only other thing I haven't mentioned yet is the magnets. They're a nice moderate strength, and yeah, they're just pretty normal magnets. Anyway, we spent way too long on the 2x2, so let's go ahead and move on to the next cube, the 3x3. I'm sure this will go faster because I'm sure the turning is pretty similar. So let's go ahead and do some first turns. Oh my gosh, this is covered in lube. Might want to clean that off first. All right, I've wiped it down a little bit, and before we get right back into the turning, I do want to say that the color scheme is of course the same, but this time we do have a removable logo sticker, which I definitely appreciate, and compared to my main, the GAN XS, it seems to be the same size, so 56mm. Now this cube doesn't strike me as very light, but that's because it's about the same weight as my current main, which is very light for a 3x3, so in reality this cube is also very light compared to your average 3x3. So let's go ahead and do some turning. It definitely does have a bit of that light feeling, but it's definitely more kind of, I guess, kind of clacky and snappy in a way. It's a very satisfying sort of feel, even if that doesn't mean anything in terms of performance. In fact, what it reminds me of the most is actually the Valk 3. So this is the most recent one, the Valk Power M. And this one just feels a little bit more balanced, a little bit more smooth overall. But it still does also have a bit of that clacky, almost sort of blocky feeling that is brought over in this new cube. You have the same light, kind of crispy feeling turning as the 2x2 with, again, nice moderate strength magnets. And overall, the technical performance of the cube is good. You have good corner cutting and everything. Very fluid as a cube. Overall, I'd say if this were a $40 cube like the Valk Power M, I'd say meh. But for being an $8 cube, this is amazing. I was kind of getting lost in the little details of the turning when I realized, wait a minute, you can't get performance like this for under $10 anywhere else. So I would definitely recommend this as a budget 3x3 option, just like I would with the 2x2. And hopefully I'll be able to make that recommendation for the 4x4 as well. So let's check this cube out. And I guess we gotta go a little bit more rapid fire now because we're using up a lot of time. So it looks like we have the same shades as the previous one, nice removable logo sticker, and compared to my current main, the Valk 4M, it definitely is smaller. This is a 60mm cube, so I'd bet this one is 62. And similar weights, maybe a tiny bit lighter than the Valk 4M, but nothing crazy. Let's do some first turns. Alright, the turning definitely reminds me of the others. You have a little bit of that almost kind of sandy, crispy, not quite broken in feeling to it. It's definitely not quite as light as the other ones physically and in the turning, but it looks like all around you have just good performance on all the layers. It's nice and fluid, no major problems that I can see at all. You have nice lighter magnets on the outer layers, as well as a little bit stronger magnets on the inner layers, which is nice. But overall, I'm just really impressed at how far bigger cube technology has progressed in the last few years. You know, 5 years ago, any serious 4x4 speed solver would pay you $100 for a cube this nice and smooth, and now you can get it for 12, let alone having magnets in it. That's ridiculous. If you want a nice budget 4x4, I could recommend this one too. Now moving on to the 5x5, I doubt we're gonna have any big surprises here. So of course the same shades all around. It looks like they did actually move back to the non-removable logo, so I am disappointed. Compared to my current main, the Valk 5M, looks like it is a tiny bit smaller. So this is 62, this one's probably 63mm. Now onto the turning, there's nothing surprising here. Feels just very similar to the 4x4. If anything, maybe a little bit more of that sort of almost sandy feeling. A little bit crispy, maybe a bit more of that clackiness from the 3x3. Overall, the pieces just kind of feel a little bit loose in a weird way. Like just holding the cube like this, I feel like I need to tighten it before I turn it, otherwise it's just gonna pop and fly apart, but nope, it definitely doesn't fly apart. It definitely feels very solid. The magnets again are a nice medium strength, but it feels like they're the same strength in every layer, which might get a little bit annoying with like accidentally turning an inner layer during 3x3 stage. Overall though, you really can't complain for $15, which is ridiculous just having a 5x5 at all that's magnetic for $15. That is crazy. Compared to my $50 main right here, I mean, yeah, obviously a cube over 3 times as expensive will turn a little bit better, but I would say definitely not 3 times better than this one right here. Again, for a budget pick, I would definitely choose this one. Now finally, it's time for Pyraminx. It's interesting that they chose to include this in a 2x2 through 5x5 bundle, but I guess the Pyraminx is a pretty common beginner puzzle. Anyway, I'm pretty interested to try this out because my current main is a rather old Pyraminx now, the X-Man Bell, which is also made by QiYi, of course. Let's try it out. Alright, so it's very kind of light and fast feeling. I guess more like the Moyu magnetic Pyraminx. I would say that the best Pyraminx solvers in the world would probably want to use a Pyraminx more like this that's really nice and fast as compared to the X-Man Bell, which I use, which is a little bit slower, a little bit smoother, and more controllable. I like it a little bit better. But I guess for absolute speed, Moyu might be the way to go. Compared to the Moyu Pyraminx though, I mean, they're pretty similar. This one's just a little bit lighter, almost a little bit cheaper feeling. The tips are actually very light even compared to the Moyu magnetic one, but yeah, I don't know. You know, there's definitely nothing amazing about it that would make a Pyraminx solver instantly want to switch to it over, say, a Moyu Magnetic or an X-Man Bell. But overall, it is definitely a very good option, especially for beginners. $9, it's a reasonable price for a Pyraminx, and yeah, I'd say go for it. Anyway, what we now have is 5 brand new budget cubes from QiYi that are all pretty good, compared to 5 of their older non-budget cubes right here. These ones totaled about $51, but you can get 10% off if you buy the whole bundle at thecubicle.com at the link down in the description, whereas these ones total around $150, over 3 times as expensive. So what I think we should do, because most of these ones are my mains, is to have a little head-to-head relay, budget cubes versus non-budget cubes, to see who wins and by how much, and from there we can conclude how good their performance is and whether you should buy them. So let's get started. $403. Oh man, I don't know how to solve a Pyraminx. Yeah, okay, I'm not great at this. Obviously I did just lose by about 10 seconds. We got 415. What the heck? You didn't put green in front. There we go, that's better. But yeah, obviously 10 seconds, that's within margin of error. And I think I did mess up more on these solves just out of bad luck. But honestly, very little difference in performance between the 2 sets of cubes. I honestly wouldn't prefer one of them over the other. Like, I could very easily solve on these as my mains. If you're a beginner cuber or just on a budget, I could definitely recommend the QiYi MS cubes to you if you want some nice, high quality, magnetic puzzles. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed or learned something from this video. Again, be sure and check out the links to where you can buy all the QiYi MS puzzles individually or as a set, all for $45 in the description down below at thecubecube.com, and I'll see you guys next time.